Today's topic is active and passive voice. By the end of this lesson, you are expected to know if a statement is in the active form or in the passive form. And you should also be able to change active voice to passive voice, and from passive voice back to active voice. Active voice. A verb is in the active voice when the subject is the doer of the action. We make our daily utterances in the active voice, where the subject, that is the performer of the action, comes before the verb in the sentence. For example, Tade kicked the ball. This statement is in the active form because the subject Tade comes before the verb kicked. In an active voice, the focus is on the subject. Therefore, the subject is always active. Passive voice. A verb is in the passive voice when the object takes the position of the subject and the subject takes the position of the object, while still maintaining the message of the statement. For example, I mentioned earlier under active voice that Tade kicked the ball, but now in the case of passive voice, it will become the ball was kicked by Tade. The ball, which was the object in the active form, is now made to seem like the subject because the focus is on the object. In this case, the doer of the action, Tade, is passive. To change active sentence to passive sentence, there are some rules we have to follow. 1. Make the object of the sentence the subject of the sentence. Just like I mentioned earlier, the ball, which was the object in an active form, becomes the subject in the passive form. 2. You are to bring in the helping verb. Now, the tense of the main verb in the active voice will determine the tense of the helping verb. So if the tense in the active voice is in the past, definitely the helping verb you will introduce must be in the past. Rule number 3. Put the third form of the verb. By third form, I mean the past participle of the main verb in the active sentence. For instance, in the sentence I mentioned earlier, Tade kicked the ball. Kicked here is the main verb. So the present tense for kicked is kick. Past tense kicked, the past participle is also kicked. The next one, you are to add by. You are to add by. Then the last, make the subject of the sentence the object of the sentence. So you will change the subject in the active sentence to the object in the passive sentence. To apply the above rules, let's look at the sentence, the child threw the bag out of the house. This sentence is in the active voice. Now, to change this to passive voice, we need to first make the object the subject. The object here is the bag. So automatically in the passive voice, the bag will become the subject. Next, we need to pick the helping verb that is in the correct tense and in the correct number. Now, because the bag is singular, the verb I have to pick now, the helping verb I have to pick must also be singular, and it must be in the past because the verb threw in the main verb is in the past form. So in this case now, I will be having the bag was. The bag was. I'll be having the bag was. Okay, the next of the rule is to put the third form of the main verb. The main verb is true and it is in the past. The past participle for the verb throw is thrown. So now we have the bag was thrown. We are to include by, then make the subject the object. The subject, the child, will now become the object. So the passive statement we'll be having will be the passive statement for the child threw the bag out of the house will be the bag was thrown out of the house by the child. So I took my time to gather different examples on all the kind of tenses we have. Active voice can come in form of a statement, that is a sentence, and it can also come in form of a question. So I took my time to give examples of active voices in statements and questions under all the kinds of tenses we have, and I changed them to passive voices for us, so just to make our understanding of the topic easier. So the way we change a simple present tense is different from the way we change a simple past tense. So go through the notes and ask questions. The evaluation beneath it is to be answered and to be submitted.